Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. Today, I am going to introduce to you the first episode of Author's Corner, where we showcase local authors. And my guest today is Krystal Boothe. And Krystal is the author of Deep Inner Soul, Healing with Self-Empathy. Welcome, Krystal.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Myrna.
You're very welcome. And congratulations on your book. Congratulations on the work that you do. We're going to have a really good conversation talking about mental health and healing trauma. And also, Krystal is going to introduce her book and tell you guys where you can pick up a copy of it. And also, if you wanted to get her help with any kind of trauma from healing. So let me introduce her a little bit. Krystal Boothe is a licensed clinical social worker and owner of Wings of the Future. Krystal grew up in Detroit, Michigan, from an underprivileged family in an abusive home. Her father had 2 wives. Didn't know that was legal in America. The abusive environment made a major impact on her schooling. She had special education classes. As a result, she found herself repeating the cycle of abuse and became a victim. Always happens. After leaving her abuser, she married her current husband in 1999. But after 14 years of marriage, they divorced, only to reunite 3 years later. Together, they founded Wings of the Future shortly afterwards. Now, Krystal work now focuses on the complex trauma in the adult population. She works with a diverse population of adults, adolescents, and children with anxiety, depression, bipolar, PTSD, ADHD, and a host of other diagnoses. So, Krystal, I want to start off by asking you, in your work as a clinical social worker, what did you personally learn or discover in life that led you to this point to write books about healing trauma?
Well, it kind of started all out when I was in Los Angeles County working for the county at a facility for teenagers who were involved in the legal, in the legal system. And what would happen is I would notice that all of the clients that they would give me, I would be, doing all of their, discovery process and their assessments, and all of them had trauma. And so I just started to see the repeat underlining causes of why they were incarcerated and why they were having problems in school, learning, focus, concentration, memory problems, and inability to have healthy relationships, a lot of toxic relationships. And so that kind of led me on the path, as well as my struggles with focus, concentration, and memory, and why I was able to really do well in school myself. And so I started to connect the dots. And that's when I started to realize that trauma was the underlying cause. And in fact, it wasn't all just mental health.
Yeah. It's been proven. Science shows that, in fact, whenever you see someone with trauma, the psychologist can go back and pinpoint a certain point in your childhood, not even maybe as a teenager. It starts very early, and it impacts the way you see the world and basically how you see yourself. And I've had several people on the show that yes, a lot of times those behaviors or those trauma leads to behavior with the justice system. Okay.
So that's what happened. Yes.
Yep, exactly. So can you describe the process of healing trauma, and what are some key elements for people to learn how to heal from trauma?
Okay, so one of the key elements that I actually mentioned in the book as well is the inability to be vulnerable and authentic with yourself, because a lot of times trauma brings a lot of shame. And so people typically will not want to open up anymore. They'll shut down. And that's just one of the byproducts of trauma. And so the ability to be vulnerable and honest with others and themselves. So that is one of the key elements that I'm discovering that deep inner soul healing with self-empathy sort of addressed in the book. And it starts to address that, it being able to get back to that place that you were before you were damaged. And it sort of teaches you how to do that through the empathy exercises. So yeah, that's what I discovered, as well as a lot of other things, as well as pinpointing those particular traumas. But we could get into that later. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you've got personal experience, and then of course, personal experience from being a child, you said, in an abusive home, and then you were able to start your career and see it in others. So what inspired you to write this book? And what message do you hope readers will take away from the book? And the book again is called, what is it here? Yes, it's called Healing Trauma with Self-Empathy, correct?
Yes,
No, Deep Inner Soul, Healing with Self-Empathy, right?
Deep Inner Soul Healing with Self-Empathy. And
right.
So what I realized is that the key component to help trigger the brain to get back to that place of vulnerability, authenticity, honesty, was that the person was waiting to be cared for. The person who went through what they went through, they were waiting to be cared for. And then I discovered that, wait a minute, I'm waiting for someone to say something kind to me, something validating to me. What if I did it for myself? What if I decided to say those words that I was waiting for someone else to say to me, to myself? What would happen? And that led me on a scientific journey with my clients of creating these empathy exercises before I even wrote the book. And I decided to just go through these empathy exercises with the client, pinpointing the specific traumas and see what happened to the brain, see what happened to the heart. And what happened was the person naturally, as they begin to receive what they needed to heal, it was almost like an antidote. Then I realized, oh, they started to naturally let go pain that was causing them to be unable to forgive, or be unable to let something go, or be unable to move forward and think of anything else other than what had happened to them. And so that's what I started to realize. I started to realize that those things they could actually create that experience for themselves. And that experience would then trigger the brain to start to let it go and move past it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So are these like affirmations, or what kind
something
of
like that? But
okay,
actually God gave it to me, because I was like, God, give me something. I was frustrated in my profession. I was so frustrated in my profession, and I just did not know what to do and how to help my patients. I mean, of course I was helping them. Of course I was doing some deep inner child healing work and all those sort of things, and it was working. Don't get me wrong, it was working, but I couldn't get the repeatable ability, I couldn't get it on repeat. I couldn't get what I was doing. They could only get what they needed from me if they came to me. Sort of like a doctor. You come to the doctor and you get surgery, and you can only get that help when you're with the doctor. And I said, this isn't fast enough, because it's not enough. They have so many traumas. There's no way that they're going to get this done. And actually, by the time they get done, they'll be ready to pass on. Because trauma is just that devastating, honestly. I mean, it's funny, but it's just that devastating how trauma does the effects on the brain and on the body and so many other areas. And so I said, I got to get them there faster. So what can I do? So God gave me the word I heard in my spirit: empathy exercises. And I thought to myself, empathy exercises. Okay, I know what an exercise is. It's something that you do over and over again. And I know what empathy is. But then I said, he's meaning self-empathy. So then I said, self-empathy. So then I started to say, what would self-empathy look like? What would it sound like? What would it feel like? And so I started writing down some things that were empathy, because I have a very high emotional intelligence. So I was able to kind of discern what people needed to hear because of my of that ability. And so I said, let me write some things down that a person would want to hear, that I would want to hear someone say to me when I was going through, let's say, a loss, or when I was going through some anxiety or some depression. What would I want them to say to me when I felt pain? That was a big one, pain. And so if I'm in a lot of pain, what would I want them to say? I'm going to teach them how to say these things to themselves. And therefore, I'm going to trigger the same emotional reaction in their physiological body and in their brain, and thereby get them where they want to, where they're trying to get to emotionally.
Well, a lot of times they say that affirmations don't work because your brain is saying, oh, that's bullcrap. So give me an example of a self-empathy exercise that someone will do and that their brain will believe it.
Okay. First of all, the reason why it's not just my exercises are not just about the brain, because right now what most people do is they go and they do everything from here.
From the head,
That's
right?
That's not where we do this from.
Okay.
I teach the person how to reconnect in their body and in their heart. And when they go into their heart, that's where this work takes place. This work does not take place in the brain. Now, it affects the brain. It helps rewire the brain. Right. It helps the brain to let things go. But everything that they do, I teach them how to reconnect with their bodies. And a lot of times people do not want to reconnect with their bodies because that's exactly where the pain is in their heart.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they go into their, if they go into their heart, they get overwhelmed. And so I teach them how to slowly but surely isolate various incidents that have happened to them. We go through, we kind of unpack all that stuff, get it clear what we're going in for, and then we go into the heart. We don't go into the brain. The brain only believes what the heart is telling them. Okay?
That's true. That's true. So you're bypassing the brain saying, okay, that's not true.
No,
Okay.
because the heart has to, the heart, even the word of God says that out of the heart, that's where the issues of life come from. Yes, and out of the heart, the mouth speaks, and then out of the heart, the issues of life. So the issues are in the heart. So I teach them how to reconnect with their heart, reconnect with their body, because they've, of course, one of the things that trauma causes the body to do is to disassociate. So the person disconnects from the body, and that therefore the person is unable to access that part of their body that they need, or their heart that they need to actually do the healing work. So just kind of like a doctor would do when they would go in with a knife and they're accessing parts that the human that they're doing the surgery on can't access those parts. So I teach them, hey, I'm going to show you and teach you how to access these parts of your body, access your heart, and then go inward and then start to do this work. And then you will be able to shift over into true empathy for yourself. And once you have the empathy, that's it. It shifts. Okay. Once you realize that, oh, someone cares for me. Who is that? Who is that one that cares for you? It's you. You care for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually pretty good. It's pretty good work. So if I were to ask you, what do you want people to walk away with after reading the book? So would the answer be that I love me and, God loves me? Or what are some of the other messages?
that I can heal. Because one of the biggest things that people, what happened is they've tried everything. They've talked to people about it. They've done everything they can to let this go, or to heal this, or to forgive this, or whatever that they need to go. Maybe a combination of those things. They've done everything, but the fact of hope, I want to reinstill in people that there's hope, that they can actually heal. Because once hope is activated in a person, then they are willing to do the work. Because yes, it is going to be some work involved in this. You're going to have to connect with something that's very painful. But if you do this in little small increments, 10-minute exercises a day, maybe 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, if it's a severe treatment, treatment protocol we need to do, or if on an as needed basis, or either, definitely not once a week, but no less than once a day, I would advise as a treatment professional, and do this. Then slowly but surely, I have clients calling me, I can do this. No, I'm able to not get so angry anymore. I'm able to not get so agitated, annoyed. I'm able to, I don't feel the anxiety. The anxiety doesn't overwhelm me as much. The sadness is starting to leave. And I'm like, yeah, the sadness is going to leave because you're dealing with the issue that made you sad.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's perfect. All right. So how can someone pick up a copy of your book and also get a hold of you? your company is called Wings of the Future. So tell our listeners how they can maybe connect with you, get some of the work that you do, and where they can get a copy of the
Absolutely,
book. Right.
absolutely. Well, I have several websites because we have a nonprofit because we want to do things for the community. We want to work with the marginalized population. So we have the website Wings of the Future, notforprofit.org. Then we have a private practice in California that was the beginning start of this whole thing, and that's Wings of the Future, the number 4 us.com, and it's for us.com if you get that. So Wings of the Future, the number 4 us.com. And then when we really wanted to get into the trauma work and we really wanted to take this to the next level, we got called trauma.la, and it's just that word, trauma.la. That's where you're probably going to find me now, because that's the place where I'm able to work with anyone from any city, state, country, or location, because sometimes people don't live in the state of California, and I wouldn't be able to treat them legally. That's not, ethical to do that. So I have to be able to reach more people. So I started trauma.la. So it's a movement that we're gonna start to tackle trauma, and I'm gonna give you some techniques and some strategies how to get back to yourself. And by doing that, it's going to help you improve your finances. It's going to help you improve your relationships. It's going to help you improve your business and the way in which you do things. It's going to affect every area of your life, because it all started with the dysfunctional, dysregulated emotional state that you're in. Because if you notice, when you wake up in the morning and you're in a good emotional state, how many things do you get done? How progressive are you when you feel well? So I'm going to help you get back to feeling well again.
Yeah. Listen, that's a good prescription. That's a good prescription. Everybody needs to wake up feeling good. I can't understand, like, when you're in a state of depression and you wake up and you feel bad. It's a terrible way to be. It's a terrible way to be. So yes, I applaud your work. I applaud your passion. It's coming through the phone.
I'm so excited about it. Oh my God. It changed my life. It changed my life. And that was all I ever wanted to do, was to change my life and help other people do the same. That's it.
Yes. The passion is coming through the phone. So are you in social media? What are your handles?
I am on social media. I'm on Instagram. I don't know my handles by heart, but if you go on my page on my website, all my handles are there on my page. Unfortunately, I'm not good at remembering them all. There's so many of them.
Okay.
So, and then I also have, you can get the book on Amazon. That's where you can get the book. And if you want, you can always just type in my name, Krystal Boothe, or you can type in Deep Inner Soul Healing with Self-Empathy. Either one of those will pull it up, and yeah, you get the book, you can get the ebook, you can get the paperback, whatever you want.
That's awesome. Well, I will have a transcript of my conversation with you on the show page, which is blog.myhelps.us. I would also
thank you.
Your book. You're very welcome. I would also link out to your book, and I will get the social media handles from your page and put it also on the website, so that anybody can reach out to you, because a lot of people now follow people in social media, and if you post, then they'll also be getting some advice, so be sure anything you're posting on Instagram is going to be connected to what you do, right?
Absolutely. So. And also, I'm going to be starting a little small group where I'm going to be allowing people to kind of meet with the author kind of book, where they're going to get actually with me, and I'm actually going to go through the book with people. And it's just going to be a very small nominal monthly fee, and they're going to be able to meet with me. If they can't go to therapy, because not everybody has that much money, and sometimes they may not have a lot of time, but they'll be able to meet with me a few times a month, and I'll be able to teach them how to reconnect with their bodies, because honestly, this work is done on the inside. It's not done on the outside. And that's why those, just affirmations, they just kind of, a lot of the times they bounce off your brain, because your brain is like, no, I feel pain. No, this happened to me. No, that happened to me. And it's rejecting it. So, but once the pain is gone, the brain doesn't reject it. The brain is like, no, I can believe that. No, I can change my belief system now. Yeah. I can do that.
Very, very good work. So, Krystal, it's a pleasure talking to you, and it's a pleasure to have you start off my first episode of Author's Corner, where we are showcasing, local authors. So Yes. So, hey, you know what? I'm all into books. I love books. I read a lot of books. So I'm always learning. You never stop learning. You never stop growing. And trauma is big. Even if you don't have the big teeth traumas, a lot of people have small traumas, and those traumas still affect the quality of your life. So yes, you guys go pick up a copy of a Krystal book. Encourage her as an author, as well as help yourself heal. Like she said, it's a lot of work sometimes, but if you want to wake up feeling better, if you want to have better quality relationships, now we didn't touch on it, but you see, she went through some relationships. Now she's happy because once you fix yourself, everything around you starts to fall into place. Correct?
Absolutely. It sure is correct. Absolutely. I'm so happy. Yes, I'm so happy
Yeah.
that people are healing and that they have, a technique, something that they can do on their own without the therapist. And a lot of the times when I work with them, when they do the empathy exercises and then they come and meet with me, then we unpack everything and then they start to shift, shift, shift. And then they're like, oh, I can leave the house now when they couldn't even leave the house. They were terrified to leave the house. The trauma had them literally gripped. The fear had them gripped, and now they can do all these things because they've shifted.
Yes, it's beautiful work. So thank you very much for being on the show. Any last words as we wrap up?
Um, just believe that it's possible. It is.
Yes, yes, I like that. What you say, if you have hope that you can heal, then you're going to do the work. If you don't think that you can heal, then you're not going to do work. So you're right. Hope is very important.
Hope. It's the beginning. That's the beginning.
Yes.
That's the first, because you've been trying so many things and you haven't been able to, get any kind of results. So
yes, yes. All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Transform Your Mind, a podcast, and our first ever Authors Corner. Now, we're going to be having, more authors. If you're an author and you would like to be showcased in the show, reach out to me, on the webpage, which is blog.myhelps.us, and we'll be happy to showcase you. Until then, Krystal, thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you for, sharing your passion. And
you're welcome.
I love the fact that I can help your book, get some worldwide attention so that, like, you're right, everybody can heal, right?
Everybody can heal. We can do it. We can
just gotta
do
believe it.
Yes.
All right, guys. Until next time, namaste.
Thank you. Thank you, Myrna.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.